Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Movie Nights movie review. Today, we are talking about Hundreds of Beavers. This film is directed
How
by
many?
Mike. This film is directed by Mike Cheslik. I think is how you pronounce his name. Yes, and this is a wild movie. For those of you who have no concept of what this is, it's basically a film that was made for a $150,000 budget or something in that range. And it is a basically like a Three Stooges style comedy about this guy who loses everything due to beavers. He was like a brewery type guy in the 19th century, and he takes it upon himself to take out the animals to sell them for supplies and fur so he can eventually earn the hand in marriage of the merchant's daughter. It is simple as it may seem, wildly effective, wildly entertaining, virtually no dialogue except for a couple sequences, and it's funny. It's a funny movie.
It just doesn't stop.
It doesn't.
The stamina and endurance on this movie is fucking wild.
Yeah, and the bits are incredible. I don't really consider what I'm going to say like spoilers for the movie because a lot of it's in the marketing, but like the beavers are just dudes in beaver suits, and I knew I was in for something fun with the movie when, in the beginning, he takes out one of the beavers by just sledding down a hill and just taking out the ankles, and you see the person in the beaver suit just like flip. I was laughing so fucking hard.
Or even just when he just tackles from a distance, you see him run off camera and just tackle a beaver.
Yes, and like there's so many reoccurring bits where he keeps stepping on things and like making the same noise when he hits it, and at one point he even says, "Oh shit!" and that was I laughed so hard when that happened in the movie.
Or the like the woodpecker, he keeps whistling and this woodpecker keeps coming and like just like drilling onto his head every time. Honestly, one of the funniest ones to me. Okay, this is a weird sort of review because it's just going to be us talking about bits, Like, I don't really know how to structurally, because this movie is just joke after joke,
Yeah, and it won't be the whole review, but a lot of it's just going to be kind of explaining things we liked about it, and then we'll kind of dive into the overall structure and criticisms in a minute, but please tell me your bit.
Oh, whenever he brings something to the trapper, she just guts it open, and there's a human skeleton in it, because it's just humans in costume. Just the sort of, I am a huge sucker for physical comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And man, this movie just gives it to you in spades. Like you said, it's Three Stooges, it's Looney Tunes, it's a great time.
Yeah, and the only like real negative that I have for the movie is just that I believe the runtime is close to the 2-hour mark, if I'm not mistaken. Or it's like an hour. It's an hour and 48 minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not only just a tight 90, I think the film could have been a tight 80.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of repeated story beats and bits that there are some bits that go on for too long and they're not funny, then they keep going and they're funny again. And there are some bits that just went on for too long and didn't become funny again. And I think that the third act of the movie is very, very drawn out, and I feel like it could have been handled a lot faster. The movie does do a good job of making the shtick not get entirely old, which I was worried about in the beginning of the movie. Like, it did justify being a feature film, I think 100%. But I still think you could have made this a tight 80-minute movie, and it would be a much more satisfying experience.
I agree, because I think with the 2-hour runtime, what sort of happens, and with all like comedies like this, where you're just sort of beat over the head with the comedy over and over again, you go through that phase of this is hysterical, and then you sort of take that dip, and then it just keeps going. It's sort of this wave pattern throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, and I will say the performances were great. They were tonally perfect for everyone making this movie knew exactly what film they were making. There was no if, and, or buts about that. I think that the low budget constraints that they had actually lended some really interesting creativity with some of the kind of grander concepts that they had to make for the movie. Like, they had to do like a wide shots and a lot of stuff, and some of it looks cheesy on purpose, but some of it actually looked quite good for what they were trying to accomplish. And, it really lended itself as part of the experience. And look, I commend them for getting this film made and for it slowly kind of gaining steam and becoming something that people are watching. And I thoroughly had a genuine good time watching the movie. And, if they made more movies like this, I'd love to see them. And again, it's hard to do this without just going into like, oh God, remember how funny this bit was.
Yeah.
But there was another bit where I'm not going to give the context as to why, but basically a beaver was wearing a human suit that got a huge, huge laugh out of me. And it was also just terrifying for the characters in the situation. But yeah, I'm getting repetitive at this point, but it was just such a silly, fun movie.
It's this weird fever dream of a comedy that just works. There's these recurring beavers specifically that I won't spoil, but they are the best part of the movie.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't want to give that away because when they first came on screen, I was dying laughing.
Because I texted you. I texted you when I was watching the movie, and I was like, oh my God, these beavers are killing me. And it was so good.
Yeah. No, I mean, overall, it's a very funny movie. Might be a little bit too long, but certainly innovative and something I haven't seen from a comedy in a long time.
100%. 100%. And guys, have you seen Hundreds of Beavers? I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments below. That was such a funny thing to say. Thank you guys so much. Possibly thousands. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next review.